everyone. Welcome to the lecture series of Mobile Computing and Wireless Communication. I am your instructor, Ms. Alpa Rupala. So today we are continuing with our previous topic, that is multiple access. So we will learn about multiple access leftover technique, that is CDMA, code division multiple access, in detail today. Then after we will learn regarding to the multiple access with collision avoidance, in which we will learn different 4 types of conditions in which the multiple access can occur. First of all, hidden terminal, then after exposed terminal, then after near terminal, and then after far terminal. So basically, continuing with our topic, that is the multiple access. In previous lecture we had learned difference between the multiplexing and multiple access, which is multiple access is a mechanism whereas multiplexing is a technique. To achieve multiple access, we are using multiplexing technique in it. So ultimately, many number of users, multi-users can transmit the data by a single channel. That is the main mechanism of multiple access, but without having any interference between them. So there are different techniques in which FDMA we had learned in previous lecture, then after TDMA that we have also learned, SDMA that we have also learned. So today we are going to learn in detail about CDMA, that is code division multiple access. So basically, what is codes? So it's a unique kind of number sequence which is dedicated to a transmitter and receiver. Okay, and it is private to transmitter and receiver. No other user than transmitter and receiver can have that code. That is the code in which CDMA we are using CDM, that is code division multiplexing. So basically, this can be fundamental without interference, obviously. So what is the question behind that? That we are using different codes. Then how we need to select the code so that there cannot be possible any interference, or if we can say a good code. Okay, so how we can accept a good code or good chipping sequence? So the code which are orthogonal to each other will be referred to as a good code. Suppose we are having 3 users on a single channel transmission. So the code which is selected without interference transference data must be 3 of them must be orthogonal to each other. Okay, so basically what will be the functionality of orthogonal? Suppose if we are thinking about the coordinate vector static origin, it will be 0, 0, 0 in 3 dimensions. Okay, now we are having the origin that is 0, 0, 0 in 3 dimensions. Now, if 2 codes are orthogonal, then the inner product of that 2 code will be 0. So ultimately, if we take an example of 2 codes, that is, you can see that 2, 5, 0. First vector with 3 dimension data is 2, 5, 0. And second vector is 0, 0, 70. If we are multiplying these 2 vectors, 2 multiplied by 0, 0. Then 5 multiplied by 0, 0. And 0 multiplied by 17 will be 0. So ultimately 0 plus 0 plus 0 is equals to 0. So we are getting the inner product value as 0. So these 2 codes are said to be an orthogonal code. Same as, it is not like that we must have 0 in our code. Okay, the code like an example, 3 minus 2 4 and minus 2 3 3 are also orthogonal code. Likewise, multiplying 3 with minus 2, that is minus 6. Okay, then after again multiplying 2 with 3, that is minus 6 again, and multiplying 4 with 3, that is plus 12. So minus 6 plus 12 is equals to 0. So ultimately our motive is what? We must have the inner product of 2 vector 0. So that 2 codes will said to be as an orthogonal code. Suppose what must we not take as an orthogonal code? So if we take an example of vector 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, minus 6. If we are not getting the inner product as an 0, then we must not take that code as an orthogonal code, or must not take that code in a use. So ultimately we can see that the inner product of this two code is minus 10. So they are not orthogonal code. But if we are having some code which is similar or close to 0, likewise the example 1, 2, 3 and 4, 2, minus 3. So inner product of this two code is close to 0, which is minus 1. So we can take this code as an orthogonal code because the interference will be very much of lesser that we can ignore it. So this is the concept of orthogonal codes in CDMA. Now the features of CDMA, it is having very soft handoff. The CDMA uses co-channel cells. The CDMA system shares the same frequency, obviously 24/7 same frequency for user data transmission, but because of the difference in code, the user can be bifurcated. Okay, and it is having a soft capacity limit. Multipath fading can be reduced in CDMA system. The CDMA system is more secure because it is using DSSS fundamental. More than one user is allowed to share a channel. Then after, each user is assigned a unique code. So the security will be higher. At receiver, the signal is recovered by using the same code. And in CDMA, the user accesses the channel in random manner. So it can be a possibility of the near, far, hidden and exposed terminal problem. So these all are the features of the CDMA. Now, encoding rule of CDMA. Basically, this kind of concept we have already seen in our topic of DSSS. The example of DSSS, in which we had created one CDMA network and we had encoded our data with the chipping sequence in by use of the DSSS technique. Okay, so this is the same fundamental. We are now creating the network of CDMA. So encoding rule of CDMA is each station is assigned a code which is simply a sequence of number called chips. That is our chipping sequence. Okay, so whatever, if the station wants to send bit 0, then it must send -1. If the station wants to send bit 1, then it must send +1. If the station wants to send bit, if the station doesn't want to send anything, then at that time the representation of that will be 0. If bit 0, then -1. If bit 1, then +1. And if nothing is being sent, then it will be represented as 0. So now we can see the CDMA multiplexer in diagram. Okay. Here we can see the station A wants to send data bit 0. Station B wants to be silent and doesn't want to send anything. And station C wants to send bit 1. So here in diagram we had represented the chipping sequence of each station in a box, rectangular box. The station A with the chipping sequence +1, -1, -1 and +1 in a vector representation. And station B's chipping sequence +1, +1, +1 and +1. Station C's chipping sequence +1, -1, +1 and -1. So ultimately what we are doing, if station A wants to send bit 0, then we will represent it as a -1. So first of all, we will multiply the bit with the chipping sequence. So +1 -1 multiplication -1, -1 -1 multiplication will be +1, -1 -1 multiplication will be +1, +1 -1 multiplication will be -1. You can see in diagram. Okay, now see, this station B wants to be silent, so representation of it will be 0. If we are multiplying 0 with any of the number, then it will be 0. So output is that. Now the station C wants to send bit 1, so the representation will be +1. So ultimately C with the +1 value with the chipping sequence, so it is the output. At the last, for multiplexed signal, we will add all the bits, all the vectors bit by bit. Okay, we will add the values of all the vectors bit by bit. So -1, plus 0 plus 1, that will be 0, plus 1 0 minus 1, that will be 0, plus 1 0 plus 1, that will be plus 2, and minus 1 0 minus 1, that will be minus 2. So this is our multiplexed signal which we will transmit over a transmission medium. Now same as multiplexer, at the receiver side we must need to demultiplex it. So at the receiver side, the received signal is the single one, that is 0 0 plus 2 minus 2. Okay, now each station will receive this signal, station A, station B and station C's receivers. Each station's receiver will receive the signal. Now station A's receiver must have the code of station A because the transmitter and receiver will have the common code. Now station B's receiver must have code of B's chipping sequence and station C's receiver must have code of station C's chipping sequence. Now what we will do? Now we will multiply this with the chipping code. Okay, now we will multiply the signal with the chipping code. So ultimately whatever vector value we will have, we will add all the bits of vector value. So at the station A, answer will be minus 4 and the number of bits in chipping sequence is 4. So we must need to divide it by 4. So minus 4 divided by 4 is equals to minus 1. Okay, so the representation of minus 1 means bit 0 was sent. So whatever the A has sent for the A's receiver is getting the perfect output from the multiplexed signal. So this is the concept of CDMA. So now the next topic is multiple access with collision avoidance. Now if we talk about a wired medium, then wired medium can sense that if anyone is sending data, then it will stop the sending, so there cannot be a possibility or minimal possibility of collision. Okay, but in wireless system, if the system is having no sense of carriers, then at that time, or maybe unknown, or if it is not in a coverage range area of another device, then at that time collision can occur. So multiple access will have CSMA, that is collision avoidance mechanism. Okay, multiple access, collision avoidance mechanism, multiple access, CSMA, carrier sense multiple access. Carrier sense multiple access, CD and CA, that is collision avoidance and collision detection. So in Ethernet we are using CSMA CD, that is collision detection. But in this particular lecture we will learn about the collision avoidance in detail. So we priorly defined some algorithms so that collision cannot be happen. So in this diagram we can see that we are having three devices, device A, device B and device C. So first of all we are learning about one condition, that is hidden terminal condition. So in hidden terminal condition, first of all we can see that station B is in a range of station A. Same as station B is also in a range of station C. But station A and B is not in a range of each other. And station B is in a range of A and C both. Okay, this is the condition according to our diagram. Now the communication can happen likewise. A will send data. A wants to send data to B and C wants to send data to B at the same time. A wants to send data to B and C also wants to send data to B. But what will happen? A is unknown of even the existence of B and B is also unknown or even don't know the existence of A. C is also not known of A. So ultimately we can say that collision can occur at station B because A and C are hidden terminals to each other. So ultimately this is the hidden terminal problem. Now next problem is exposed terminal. That means they know that they are in each other network, but the data is being sent to any another device and any another device wants to send data to any third device. Okay, but in the sense of courier, they will identify that some communication is being happening. So it will not send data, but ultimately the collision cannot occur, and this kind of communication is known as exposed terminal. So we can see an example. The B and C are in a coverage range of A and D are in a coverage range of C. So if A wants to send data to B and C wants to send data to D, now look, there is no common element. A wants to send data to B and C wants to send data to D. There is no common element, but still C will sense that the courier is busy and it will not send data to any another device even though D is not busy. So this type of concept is known as A and C are exposed terminal. Even the data transmission is at another device, they will not send data due to the sense of courier is busy. So how we can eliminate this particular fundamental? So we can see that in diagram for hidden terminal, we can use request to send message and clear to send message. Now, whenever any device want to send data to any another device, it will firstly send request to send message in which who is the sender, who is the receiver, and what amount of time he wants to send data will be transmitted. Same as soon as the receiver is receiving the RTS request, it will reply with the clear to send command in the area of it. So ultimately all the devices in that particular device area will receive the CTS message with the information of who is the sender, who is the receiver, and what amount of time it will be busy. So ultimately in our communication, as soon as the A wants to send data to B, it will send RTS request with A is sender, B is receiver, and suppose 10 seconds of time for communication. So as soon as B receive the RTS request, it will give CTS message in the network area. So A and C both will receive the CTS response, and that CTS response will have the data that sender is A, receiver is B, and the B will be busy for next 10 seconds. So now C needed to wait until the communication of A to B is completed. So our problem is resolved. Same as for exposed terminal, there will be the request to send command and there will be clear to send command. As soon as the A is sending data to B, B will send CTS message that A is sender and B is receiver. And C will sense that D is free. Only and only B is busy. So it will directly send data to D. So exposed terminal problem is also resolved. Now next problem is near and far terminal. So we can see that the A, B and C, the device C is a receiver, A is a far terminal and B is a near terminal. So ultimately what will happen, the device C will receive all the data of B very effectively, but data of A will be ignored as an interference because device A is very far. So what will be the basic problem solution of this particular problem? That we must have common distance of terminals so that no other terminal can be said to be as an far terminal or near terminal. So thank you. We will meet in our next lecture.